Oopsies.
Why are we still recording all this?
I don't know. Let's go. What are we doing? What's going on? Because all of us are like half awake.
Hold on. We should just do it as a whisper. Hello, welcome to the Whisper Podcast.
This is ASMR.
No, but like I sounded like a Rocko's Modern Life character when I whisper for some reason. You turn the page, you wash your hands. You turn the page, you wash your hands. Oh, fish sticks.
Oh boy.
Hello, welcome to the ParkStop podcast.
Man.
My name is Alicia Stella. With me as always is my co-host Ian.
Hey kids, I
And
think
we have
maybe-
a very special guest with us. Emery of Emery Arts is here. Welcome.
Hello! I am
Cool.
Mama Boo in the house. I have joined once again back for my revenge. I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
No,
it's
gonna
fun
be a
to
long
go
show.
to Halloween Horror Nights and be able to know that every single year for the rest of forever, Little Boo will probably be prominently on display somewhere during the event.
Yay.
But each year he'll be higher and higher and more inaccessible to all guests until he disappears into the ether.
It's so we can't steal them. They're just trying to keep them out of our reach.
Yeah, like
out of
even
my
last
reach
year
specifically.
went from like reachable height to 10 feet up. Now he's like 30 feet in the air.
In the trusses, hun.
Oh man.
Strapped in with like, he's like surrounded by like that, the black mesh material, which like was a choice. Anyway.
Yeah, he's looking straight down like he's fearing his doom of falling now.
Or that he's your god.
He's just looking after everyone entering, a little concerned, just like always, except now it's not just
Yes.
one house, it's the entire event.
Oh boy.
He's like, wait, guys, don't do this. It's not worth it.
You'll get leg cramps
You're
in the
too drunk.
morning.
You'll get leg cramps.
Oh,
Like
back to bananas we go.
My left calf like twitched in like
my God.
PTSD after.
Is it the same left? Is it your left one? It's my left one
It was
also.
my left calf. Sorry for cursing. Oh my God. Crap.
It's my
sorry.
left ankle. I don't have any cramps. I just have a messed up ankle from walking.
Oh no.
Yeah, we're fine. We're fine. I'm just old. It's fine.
I lost my voice screaming and cheering on that guy singing, lip syncing and dancing before the Nightmare Fuel show.
Oh, it's so good. That was so good.
I'm
jealous
literally
I missed
hooting
that.
and hollering along with the entire audience. Who was
People had
getting a
their
kick
phones out with their lights on, like the flashlights on, and swinging to it and stuff. And then this dude was dancing, and people are going nuts like he was part of the show.
He,
I love
he
that
was
energy.
the show. I will
Amazing.
remember that long after I forget
Yeah.
the show. We'll forget everything that happened tonight. I'll remember that guy. Just like
With the
killing it.
Juggalo tattoo. If you listen to us by chance, sir, good job.
Seriously,
Thank you for your
highlight of our
service.
night.
Thank you for the free warm up. That was great. The crowd warm up. That was great.
Right?
He was awesome. The crowd
So
was
tonight-
so fun.
Today we're going to be talking about Halloween Horror Nights 31 at Universal Orlando. Our favorite houses. We only went one night. Ian and I, Emery, you have not done all of the houses yet. So we'll just kind of be giving our general thoughts on the overall experience. There might be some slight spoilers because we're going to talk about specific scares and things that we liked and especially some of the set design. But we I don't really have notes or a structure, so we're just gonna if we remember something, we'll talk about it, like in the order that we remember it.
Sweet. I gotta get a list
Amazing.
of the houses because I'm not even awake enough to remember that.
Well, I have a
Oh
list
my
in front of
God.
me, but if you think of
Okay.
one, just shoot. I was like, oh, I should have actually made a formal list so I can just I almost want to ask what's everyone's favorite house so far?
Oh,
That's go ahead, Emery, but that's not an easy question for me to answer.
off the dome. So I've not done all the houses because I've gone 2 nights and I have not done them all because I don't know. That's just how I roll. I think, oh God, my favorite house overall has to be Dead Man's Pier. It's just, and it's followed so closely by Chupacabras and by Legends Collide, just because I don't know. That's going to be the 3 top
they all have very
contenders.
similar. They all have very similar reasoning, probably, and it's scenic related. It's probably set
For
design
me
related.
specifically, yes.
Yes.
because there's a through line there between those three houses. No, for me, I wanted Dead Man's Pier Winter's Wake to be. I thought that for sure was going to be my favorite because I like all the cold houses and I thought the scenic was going to be so good. But surprisingly, Universal Monsters Legends Collide like really won me over because it had the scenic and it had the scares and like I kind of dug the storyline. But yeah, I think that ended up being my favorite for the night. More surprising than that, my second favorite is Halloween, and I did not see that coming.
Nice.
Yeah. I got a 3-way tie because I couldn't pick between the scares and the way everything was laid out.
Cheater.
It was yeah, but also like now I have like a distinct memory of one of these houses because of one of the scares, and it didn't even happen to me. It was just humorous to me with people that we were with. So Halloween, obviously Legends Collide, and obviously the pier, Dead Man's Pier is like so good. It's so awesome in there. Just I don't even need the scares. I just want to walk through there.
Yes, it's
I
a
wish
vibe.
I wish I could just like take my time. Like it's awesome to walk through the scares. I wish I could do it without the scares and just like take it all in because there's so much to look at.
There really is.
It's so good.
It feels as though you're walking through an actual village because of the recurring sight lines. And I just think that was the one thing that I wanted Horror Nights to do better on, and they killed it this year.
Yeah, and that entryway alone too, like it actually feels like you're in that little village center with the little statue and stuff. It's so good. It's just so good.
Oh my God,
so
Lindsay
good.
Sterling on the strings. I grew up playing the viola, and so she slayed me. I know she's not really playing it, but like whenever I saw like that beautiful figurine up on top on the boat, I was like, this is where I die.
Yeah, it's so good.
When we went through, Jen and I went through it again a second time at the end of the night, the Winter's Wake. It didn't occur to me the first time. There's the statue in the courtyard when you enter is the violinist ghost woman.
Yeah, that's her.
Like she's got a violin or whatever. So like there's so much weird like backstory lore. I almost want to stay in that first scene with the bartender, just listen to the story. Like please go on. I want to hear the whole story. I don't want to keep moving on. But that house had all right, we're talking about the Dead Man's Pier more. The elevation changes was like totally new. Like I've never seen them do something so like there's been elevation changes before, but like not in a way that you would see the like previous and the future scenes at the same time while you're walking higher and lower and higher and lower.
Right.
So like you could see the ghost woman playing a violin from like 3, 4, 5 scenes ahead of time. And by the time you actually get up to her, the music gets louder and louder and louder. And I was like, this is like, it would have moved up higher on my list. I feel like if I was in that house alone, like if there was no other guests, it's got such an atmosphere to it, like such a creepy, like
it's
sad
so
atmosphere. Like it really like it's usually the houses are like uppity and scary and there's jump scares. This one is solemn.
It is. It's melancholy. I love it. I think y'all should listen. If you haven't yet, listen to the Discover Universal podcast, short stories. They provide you with so much good context and background for the houses. And they've really let you like walk through the houses and be like, wow, this means so much more than just going through it alone, which, ideally you would want the house to speak for itself. And a lot of these they do, but it's all about the subtle details that you can pick up from listening to the podcast first and then going through the house.
I think it would have moved higher up on my list if there was like, other than the guy with like the big giant underwater mask suit with the glowy face, like there wasn't
the deep divers.
Yeah, it's like there was the Gorton's fisherman logo guy, and there was the bartender like captain guy, and the violinist. They were very interesting characters, but none of them were really scary. So it wasn't like a scary haunted house. It was more like I was in a different world. It was like watching a drama instead of a horror movie.
Yeah, I think that's what they did most effectively. It's like not all houses have to be Legends Collide, but having that dichotomy is magnificent. I love it.
Now, but Legends Collide also opened, a lot of these houses opened with that, like this beautiful like scene that that like Emma, you pointed out there was like a shadow gag effect right as you like above the tent when you enter. We're looking at the Anubis statue, the hand-carved giant Anubis statue. There's the moon glowing in the background. Like that whole scene is so beautiful.
It's awesome.
Yes.
And Wolfman.
All of the rooms in there, like the skeletons built into the sand walls, and like it's all done so well. But then also, the characters are interesting, so and actually scary. So like Wolfman and Mummy, and maybe if you're lucky, Dracula will show up. But they're interesting and
No, that's not good.
You don't like the Dracula?
No, he shouldn't win. He's in there for like 2 seconds.
Well, it's a different winner every night. We just happen to be there when Dracula
he does
won.
not deserve to win. He doesn't do
Swoops
anything.
in literally at the last minute and takes all the credit.
No, Wolfman is better anyway.
As a vampire,
as a werewolf,
I think you should put more respect on our tribe's name. Thank you.
As a mummy. No, wait, I have to be.
Now we're opposing each other, all of us.
This is Legends Collide, real life.
I did tell the first character that popped out as Wolfman. I said, when the first time through he jumped out, I said, "Hey, Dad."
Twinsies.
Yeah, exactly. If I still had my beard, maybe it'd be a little better. But
I'm glad we went through that a second time because we didn't see the flying Dracula the first time. He like came soaring out through a window.
And I got to take a closer look at one of the things I didn't know was going to jump at us to see if I could tell that it wasn't what I thought it was. To not give away too many spoilers.
Oh, okay, I was like, are you going to...
No, I don't want to spoil too much stuff if we don't have to. Some of these stories
I'm
going to involve...
I'm going to be spoiling everything. We're
going to spoil some stuff, but I don't want to kill everything.
There was a lot of good motifs this year in the houses that I noticed, and mirrors was one of them. The facades and entries that continue on throughout the house that you get to like the lighthouse. Did we even mention the lighthouse in Dead Man's Pier? You see this lighthouse in the first like facade entry, and then that lighthouse is visible for the whole house, and it's amazing. And like we very rarely use so much height these sound stages are massive. So to see them use the actual height in a way that you can actually see this lighthouse from many scenes, it's very incredible. So yeah, motifs like the facade that's also using future scenes as background, but also mirror gags and mirrors to extend stuff. Like I love mirrors. I was telling Emery last night the Gothic house with the church as a giant mirror gag was like my favorite. That's my favorite house ever, just because of that. And flying gargoyles.
Whenever they do those gags, but they actually work, it just makes me like happy within my heart. It's like, this is what scenic should be. This is theater right here. Oh, so good.
Yeah, one of those mirror gags scared Alicia.
That's what I was going to say. Getting into Halloween, which I did not expect to love so much, right near the beginning after the prologue, which I love. There's a prologue and opening credit sequence, and then you get to the movie, and it's like, this is so good. So perfect. Because we walked in the first time, and I was like, is it going to have like a slow zoom on a pumpkin and have the music playing? And I was making a joke.
Kind of does.
And then it totally did.
Yeah,
kind of does.
Because we are walking toward it. We are the zoom. We are the camera. I know, but like we're walking, and there's like, I see Michael Myers, and he's kind of far away. You said you cocked your head to the side like a horror movie villain.
I did the shaped head tilt.
Yeah, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, wow, he's like so creepy just standing there. And then he steps forward. It turns out he's right there behind me because it was a mirror, and he's secretly behind me, and he jumps up, and I fell to the floor. I never get that scared.
Yeah, that was good though. I mean, I was watching him, and then he just kept staring at us. So I did the head tilt, and then he just popped out, and you jumped, and I'm like, hey,
he was safely 10 feet away. How was I to know he was actually standing next to me?
He was apparently not safely 10 feet away. Apparently the mirror was though.
Because there's a mirror gag in the monster's house that sort of does the same thing, but it's at an angle. So you see yourself too, and you realize like after a couple seconds, oh, this is a mirror. There I am. Yeah. There's no way you don't see yourself in the Halloween mirror. You only see Michael Myers. It is perfectly situated.
Good job. They did a seriously good job on that.
Because it's like he's kind of off to the side. It's not like a dead center hallway. It's like he's like off in like the bushes, and you can see him like peeking through. Oh God, it was just so effective.
Yeah, he's just standing there, like staring at you when you come out of that doorway, and he's just like looking at you. But then you get the house facade too, right there.
And because it's a Halloween house,
Yes.
he jumps out from beside me, and it was actually, he's been there the whole time. And then as I'm getting back up off the ground and you all are laughing at me, he comes back, like a second version of him comes back around another bush in front of me, and I get a second scare, which is nothing compared to the 5 scares that Emery got later in the night, though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, that was,
Every time you caught your breath, another person came.
Emery and wait, since we're in Halloween, can we discuss, and even though I don't want to spoil the last room, but everybody's reaction to the last room in that house, even when we went through it the first time. So the first time we went through Halloween, our little RIP group was getting like backed up, like we're stopping, pausing, all this stuff. You get to the very end, to the last room, and everyone's bolting, like the line just suddenly takes off real fast. And I'm like, what is going on all of a sudden? And then I found out why. And we get into a room of mirrors with Myers everywhere. The shape is just everywhere.
Myers mirrors.
The Myers mirrors. So everyone's just trying to figure out which one is going to jump at him.
Yeah, it turns out this group could move quickly. It just needed some motivation.
Yeah. Exactly. That line can go fast. They just choose not to until the very end, which was really funny. And that paid off later when we met up with Chris, Alexa, and Emery was with us, and we went through the house. Emery bolted through it. Alexa opened the curtain, looked and said nope, and backed up into Chris, grabbed his arm, and then ran through it, dragging Chris. To my delight, personally, because I was standing right there laughing at all of this going on. I'm trying to get Alicia's attention to see what's going on.
I was kind of disappointed.
Dying.
I was disappointed to hear that they were doing a third Halloween house based on the first Halloween movie. Although I'd be more disappointed if it was based on any of the newer movies, because I haven't even seen those. At least I've seen this one. But this felt very different than the last one. Bigger in scale, and it started from the beginning of the movie. So I was on board with that. I don't know. I feel like its use of music was really good. Like it did that little music sting, like like
yes.
Yeah.
It didn't like the other one was more like uppity. This is another one. This one was a little calmer, but it still had 1,000 Michael Myers, so it works.
Yeah, all of the shape.
So effective, though. That last scene, everyone's reaction is like, nope. But either it's nope and I'm dead bolting through, or nope and I'm retracing my steps.
Yep. We're not going through that room. Nope. That room is so good.
Truly. Oh, my God.
It wasn't the only mirror room either at that HHN this year. There was another one.
What was the other one?
I don't think you did it yet, though, Emery.
Oh, no, I didn't. Wait, I've done... okay. Let me review what I actually
Wait, what was that? What's the other mirror one?
The Weekend.
Oh, then, yeah, no, I have not done Weekend. So, okay. I have not done Weekend, Hell Block Horror, Descendants of Destruction, which I'm really excited about, and Bugs Eaten Alive. But everything else I have done.
So my next favorite was Bugs Eaten Alive.
Bugs was fun. I thought that was fun. It was good.
It was I like they could have just said, hey, let's do a house with lots of bugs, and like they design it as a big open like a cabin or an old house. Like I imagine it just like looking like an old dungy house with like cockroaches and spiders and stuff everywhere. But no, they went high concept with this. It's a home of the future. 1950s technology can save us and improve life, and it's this like air filtration system that also captures bugs safely and humanely, but then it backs up and then it explodes the bugs all over the house, and it opens with like that like old like
commercial. It's like a TV commercial.
Yeah, like the General Electric 10-minute like commercials where like the lady would be like point out, like the housewife lady would be like, look, it'll improve your life. Now you can wash dishes in only 60 minutes instead of 6 hours.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. And she's smiling and it's so creepy.
And like in the first scene alone, like the thing goes haywire and like she goes from smiling to being attacked by bugs, and it's like this house is just going for it.
It's so good. It's so, and that the unit keeps appearing, and every time you see it, it's more and more broken.
Yeah. And like
my God.
our tour guide was explaining the backstory. It's like not only has it like broken and let all the bugs loose from its containment system, but also they've mixed with the gases and they've started to mutate.
Okay, so that's why the bugs are massive. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes
Yeah.
a lot more sense then.
They're
Okay.
not small. The bugs literally get big by the end of the house, and things start to get weird.
Yeah, it gets real weird.
Oh God.
It's
okay,
so fun.
but please let me know. Are there holes inside of skin?
Inside of school, everyone's
Mm.
faces are attacked, and they have big like eggs in their body. So there's
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Uh,
It looks like they're mutating kind of from the. Yeah, there's definitely holes in faces.
Are there boils?
Boils and bumps. Yep, all of the
There's
fun
one
stuff.
person who has like eggs planted all over their abdomen.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Whoa.
Yeah, they give you they on our tour they like overwarn you. They try to I don't have any phobias, and I was like, well, now I'm starting to question this house because she keeps asking if we're sure.
Oh, God.
I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. Stop asking.
But like the meaty meats type like aesthetic of like that happier time with the film reels and stuff. I love the idea of like the 1950s,
It's so good.
like clean Home of the Future, like Monsanto Home of the Future or Xanadu
That
Home
stuff
of the
is
Future.
so cool.
It's like
I like that stuff
and
too.
it starts so clean, but it gets darker and dirtier and more messed up by the end.
Oh.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good house.
Can't
If
wait
you
to
can-
do it then.
Yeah, if you can deal with the bugs. What did she say? She said the actual number is 37,590 something bugs in there.
So
They just say
38,000 bugs.
38,000.
Jesus H Christ.
I wanted to do it again, but we didn't have time because there were some
Yeah.
gags that we missed. And there's like a lights out part that's just darkness. And there's some
Oh,
flashes
yeah.
Just for
in
the
there.
warning.
It's right in the middle, and that alone is scary. Just your imagination.
Yeah.
Oh God.
You can't see much, and you're getting shot with air and water and things hanging from the ceiling. And if you don't like bugs, it'll creep you out a lot.
I
One
have
of
to
my
do
favorite-
it though.
One of my favorite things is this air purification system also has like a clean air scent that it sprays, and at one point you actually smell the like spray coming out of it. It's like a Febreze scent.
Cute.
So good.
Yeah. It's not that bad. Everyone if you're scared of bugs, don't worry. I was worried there'd
It's
be like
really not.
there's
I
not
thought
a
it was
lot of
gonna be
motion
worse
to
than
most of
that.
the bugs. They're frozen in time, so they use strobe effects to like create movement, but they're not moving, so it's not as scary. There's some like giant grubs sticking out of holes and stuff that like someone's back there puppeteering. But
With big old
for the
teeth.
yeah, but for the most
God.
part, the cockroaches and stuff are just glued to the wall, so it's not too bad. A well-placed projection effect, I think, would have gone really far to have like little creepy crawly type stuff on the wall.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
I
that's
think-
what I
I
thought
think-
they would do, like a la
Yeah.
Mummy.
Yeah, because there's tons of projection shadow gags in a lot of the houses, and this was the one I thought for sure would have it, and I don't think it did.
Interesting. Okay.
Otherwise, it probably
I
would
don't
have
think
moved
it
up
did
higher
either.
on my list.
We had a couple screens though, but I don't
Yeah.
think they did projection mapping.
Okay.
But not even like mapping, but like over a wall instead of a screen. There was a couple screen moments early on. You're right. So there was that. So it's more like the kitchen with the cockroaches, I think, could have benefited from some movement.
Okay, well, I'll look forward to this. But like I think for me, like the biggest phobia that I have being trypophobia, I'm like, if I see someone's skin having holes inside of it, it's not that I get scared, like boo, like it's like I break down. Like I like grip
That's
my arms.
literally the word that our tour guide used to
Yep.
warn us. We had to look it up on Google
Great.
to know what it was. But it's not so bad. I think I was
Okay.
expecting worse.
Yeah, I was.
I mean,
too.
other
Like I
than
said, she
people
kept
jumping
warning
out
us
at-
so much.
People jump out in front of you like the scare actors, and they have like little tiny holes in their faces. So maybe it might freak you out a little bit.
Okay. Oh God.
She's like, it's fine. I can do it. I got it.
I'll do it.
I got it. It's fine.
I thought that was going to be like the fun house, but I think honestly the weekend was the more like
Yeah.
literally a fun house.
I think the weekend was super
Oh.
fun. It was a lot of fun because there was like oversized weekend heads and weird shapes and stuff. And there was, I don't know, like even like the mirror room in that was pretty fun. It wasn't as
It was
scary
the Super
as,
Bowl halftime show
shit.
thing, and where you
It
run
was.
through and you're lost.
Yep,
Like
it was.
the meme.
Yep.
Yeah, like the meme.
It was good. It was really fun. It was just a fun house.
I walked
see
out of
anything
there
to
and I
really
was
be scared
like,
of in there.
this is it's literally just missing the spinning cylinder room, and it's a full-on funhouse.
Yep. It was so good. It's really good. It's not good in like a scare kind of way. It's just really fun. Like we left laughing and smiling. So
Dang. Okay. Well, I'm like 10 times more excited to go in through it now.
yeah, I was surprised. I wasn't expecting much out of that house, to be honest.
I mean, I know that they needed to do right by him, because like he like really curated his music videos, which are amazing and phenomenal. But
Yeah. The visuals in it are very interesting. It's like
Oh, for sure.
the tour guide said it was like the inside the mind of him when he's writing the music or whatever, but really it just felt like more like he fell asleep and we're in a nightmare because it gets weirder and weirder. There's a lot of that's another motif this year. The houses start normal and they get weirder and weirder as you go through.
Yeah, a lot of them
until
do.
you're in like a dreamlike state. Same thing with the water projection show, the fountain show. It starts like kind of normal and then it morphs into weirder and weirder until you start to question reality.
Yeah, because you die halfway through the show. It says,
Wait,
now that
don't
you're
spoil
dead.
Oh, sorry, spoiler alert.
Sorry, spoiler. It just
we were
it
literally
blatantly announces it, so you'll be fine if you hear it anywhere in the park.
It does. Yeah. We were like sitting next to the Cafe La Bamba, and then it was literally going on for the last showing, and I was like, damn it, I missed it. So, meh.
But
Catch it
the weekend
tomorrow.
house just has like weird esoteric like non sequitur moments where like I don't want to ruin it because it's too good, but like there's one moment where I'm like, did that just happen? Okay, sure, why not?
Yep. You're like, I don't know how this fits, but whatever. We're here. Let's just keep
Because
going.
like some of them I recognize from the
Whoa.
music videos, and I was like, oh yeah, I know this scene. Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh wow, they made this like totally different, and then all of a sudden like, oh, all right, moving on.
Oh, well then, yeah, that makes me so excited to like see it like in person, because if it's like the music videos, and then if it also has that sort of like just Dadaist, like anything can happen sort of like technique of haunted houses, that I'm like more
And not
excited
just
than
like
ever.
the set design, but also like the character design. Like he starts off completely normal, like
Oh.
he's just the Weekend,
yeah,
but
yeah.
by the end he's a weird, creepy monster caricature of the Weekend.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's great.
God.
Like I said, it's like they got like different sized heads on him, and like his tongue sticking out weird, and so he gets weirder and weirder. It's great. It's great.
I did see that image of the weird one with his tongue sticking.
Yep,
That's like the
he
middle.
gets-
That's not even the weirdest one.
Yeah, that's not even the weirdest.
Oh
That's like
God.
It gets weirder.
I love that though. I love that he like designed aspects of it and was like, hey, let's just like turn it up a notch,
I think in the first room you're gonna like some of the characters. There's somebody with like a almost like a mirror ball kind of mask on in that first room at one of the tables and stuff like. It's really cool. There's a lot of cool stuff in that first room, the character wise.
Ooh. Wow.
Near that was
Amazing.
we did Descendants of Destruction, which was
I
one of the
liked
10
that a
houses.
little more. I liked that a little more than I thought I was gonna. It wasn't amazing, but it was pretty good. There was a couple of good things in there.
It was pretty low on my list, which just shows how good this year actually was,
Yeah.
because there's some
Yeah.
great moments in there and like really interesting set design. Like, because it takes place like in a subway underground, and they just built a full on like multiple full on trains and like
Yep.
subway cars, and you get into
They even
one and
throw it.
like
They throw a train at you.
yeah. It's like being in the earthquake scene. Like it's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
Some
the
of those
Mad
scenes.
Mad Max earthquake scene.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. Post-apocalyptic earthquake is what that house is.
Yep.
I love trains.
I actually prefer the characters at the start too, because it looks a little more post-apocalyptic, and then they just
Yeah,
turn
'cause
into like weird
It's
things
like the
at the
world
end.
just ended a few years ago. Like it's before it gets too long gone. But
Ooh.
is
Yeah,
this
I
like
think-
a prequel to the
The
plant
Last
one?
of Us?
The plant
Oh,
one.
no.
The house where the
Egyptian
plants
house.
took over.
I think
That
it
I
is a
don't
prequel.
know, but it might be.
Hold on, I'm gonna
Because that one
look
was
it up
like
now.
fungi and
Yeah,
stuff.
because this one
everywhere,
had
right?
sort of like when they're mutating, some of them look plant-like, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah. The thing that Alicia and I noticed the most in that house is when we first stepped in is that you can smell meat cooking.
And it was like 2/3 of the way into the house, or halfway through the house. There's the guy cooking like human meat and stuff, and I was like, this scent has permeated the entire house.
Yep. We were like, Alicia goes, I smell meat. I'm like, yeah, me too. It smells like a barbecue, kind of.
Ew, but it's human.
Seeds of extinction.
It is, right? Because it's like seeds of extinction and descendants of destruction.
Right. So I assume this is like a prequel because the plants had not taken over the world yet. But everyone was infected and mutated at this point. Like it was just the start of the apocalypse. So, but
so cool.
I think I like the original house better because I actually like the plant look. And there was only like a couple of characters that had plant, like the moss guy at the beginning was like the only one that looked plant-like at all. Otherwise, it was mostly just melting gob faces.
There's a moss guy?
I swear there was a moss guy, unless I'm losing my mind. Like the camouflage costume when you're like dressed all as green moss.
Ghillie suit. It's called a ghillie suit.
Why do you know everything?
I don't know. Yeah,
how do you know that?
Because I know that. I don't know why I know that. Probably because I got curious and looked it up once.
Okay. And you remember. That's the thing.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
But one that Emery that you have done, the Fiesta de Chupacabras, that one's pretty high on my list because the set design and the character design too, which I was not expecting.
I really like the masks in that house a lot.
Like the people masks
are great.
like the masks that are supposed to be masks. Like the festival masks.
Yes.
Like
not the giant
They're
cat.
paying tribute to the Chupacabra, but the Chupacabra itself, which our first run through it, I turned to Ian and I was like, it's a Chupacabra. Because it looks like a big kitty.
On how it looks like a cat.
I was not expecting
just
that.
A big cat.
I mean, it was kind of scary because of its size. Like, it's like a giant saber-toothed cat, but I was not expecting that.
I actually think the scary part is that the hallways in that house are so tight, and that thing is right in your face when it pops out in a couple spots. Like, seriously close to you.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Especially after doing Dead Man's Pier and it being, like, so open in certain scenes. And then immediately doing Chupacabra next and being in this tight enclosed space that keeps getting more and more claustrophobic with a giant cat monster coming at you.
It's good. I like the little town center you get where you get a little space to look around in there. That part is my favorite in that house. Like seeing the fireworks smoking and people up high and all that stuff is really cool in that room. I really like that space.
I do too, especially because it reminds me of like parties that we used to throw. Like it nowhere like in like a town center or whatever. It would just be like in suburbia, but still the same vibe of like the loud, like the cowbells are going, the drums are going. I started dancing because I was like, oh, this is my music. This is my people. It was great. I literally like felt so like at home, but the fact that it's like, you know, not a specific song, not a specific holiday. It's just like general, like good Caribbean Latin beats. I was like, oh, this is, yeah. I don't know who designed all of this, but it's phenomenal. And it follows along with the podcast episode so well. Did your tour guide also like explain the narrative of the house?
She said that the festival needs to collect a blood sacrifice to give to the Chupacabra so that the townspeople aren't attacked every night of the festival. And that they're looking for tourists or us to sacrifice to the Chupacabra. I believe that was it. I couldn't remember. There's 3 houses where they're looking for blood to sacrifice. So I thought it all melds together in my head. But this was one of them, I think, that they wanted to. Yeah, the festivals to sacrifice us to the Chupacabra to save them.
Yes, exactly. I love the podcast specifically though, because like it doesn't just tell you like what you're about to currently get into. It gives you the history of the mask maker and her family. Like her dad died trying to protect her because he was like, oh, you know, it's our tradition. We wear the masks, you know, as a part of our tradition. But on this night, you can't come out of the house. You have to stay home. And then like she ends up leaving. She meets up with the tourist that she had met earlier. This is like a really, really young girl named Rosalia. And then she just like sees all this carnage happening as like this jovial and beautiful music is happening at the same time. because she's like, oh, this is like, it's a fun fiesta. Why can't I go see it? Why can't I just be part of it? But the more that she sees, the more horrified she is. And then her dad ends up sacrificing himself. And so she's like continuing the tradition, as sick as it is, but I love her for it. And she's like convincing people to try to yeah, eat up, because at the dining with the scare actors thing, she's there. She's one of the actors that you can meet. I just saw the video today and I was like, this is great. And she was like, yeah, go ahead and eat up. Like, I need your stomach's full. And it's like, oh, of course, because you want all like the blood to be like nice and tasty for the chupacabras, of course.
It's weird to go like a scare actor dinner, and instead of just like a skeleton guy comes out and is like, woo, and he's creepy, there's like a backstory lady. Like, she's also done up in makeup, but it's not too like over the top, and like in character, in theme. She's like, yes, eat up.
Please, here's some more.
Yes. I love her specifically because like she has like a very thick Cuban accent. And I'm just like, oh, yes, this is, it's so good because Cuba is so central to everything in the Caribbean. So it's just kind of like a good general Caribbean accent. And I was like, I just thought that was great that they hired not only bilingual actors, but that she specifically, at least this actress, was Cuban. And I was like, clocked her. I loved it.
But in high school, I was big into cryptozoology, and I checked out all of the books in the school library about like Bigfoot and the Loch Ness monster. But there was something creepy about the chupacabra, the goat sucker, because it was like so nearby. Like Puerto Rico is not that, like, it's not Loch Ness in Scotland or something. And like, so like I was obsessed with it kind of because it looked like a little alien. And I'm like, there's an alien running around and sucking the blood of goats, y'all. Why aren't we more scared of this? So I was a little disappointed when the house started and like the first time Chupacabra came out, and I'm like, whoa, that is a saber-toothed cat. Like, I was a little disappointed that it wasn't a little green alien with little tiny fangs. But as the house went on, I kind of fell in love with the giant cat and I wanted to hug it. Like,
yeah, Kitty was cute.
Yeah.
So like it won me over. So yeah, the house is good.
Yes. And like the fact that like you're in the alleyways, like I love a good tiny, like not impoverished town, but like a tiny town with like really tight alleyways with like, elevation changes and stuff like that. And this house really did that well. Not as well in elevation changes as, Pier, but yeah.
But like it winds in a way that's disorienting and somehow realistic at the same time. And like there's little alleys that the scare actors with the masks on can jump out at you. But the lighting design too. It's like the sound design and the lighting design and like the idea of a festival happening. So there's color. And then when you get off the beaten paths and it gets darker as you get down an alley, like it was done like very cleverly to make it feel very disorienting. But like in a complete opposite way that Dead Man's Pier was, which was open and very big and disorienting by changing elevations and seeing everything. This one would take you away from things, so you don't see it, and it would be disorienting. So like the same technique applied in complete opposite ways. Amazing. And in the same soundstage to top it all off. Oh, and I love that too. It was cold in there from the leakage of the coldness next door. So that made it even. It's like, my God, my saber-toothed cat from the Ice Age. It's cold in here. What more like do you need, really? Which is not, like climate accurate at all, because it would be like you'd be like sweltering hot. But I'm happy for that because I love AC. Yeah, I walked out, my glasses fogged immediately, and I was like, oh, here we're back to the Florida humidity. But it's nice. Unfortunately, yeah.
The only scare I got all night was in the Blumhouse house.
Really?
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so Freaky was fun, and there were some really good scares in there. Like the Wall of Lockers was a good scare, even though it didn't get me.
Oh yeah,
the rotating saw was cool.
The rotating saw was cool, but it didn't scare me. The thing that scared me was in the black phone section. You go through a hallway of a bunch of like parting those like strips and whatever's hanging.
Yeah.
And there was a scare actor right inside one of those that I was not expecting, because no other house has it right there. And this dude jumped out right when I opened the part of the things. And I was like, all right, okay, you got me. You got me. But yeah, I actually like that, especially. It was interesting how they divided the houses too. I thought it was going to
literally
try
left.
to
We
morph
literally
it.
left the house
Yeah.
and then went into a second house. So it's too many
Yeah.
houses
Yeah.
instead of like a connection.
It's like too many houses separate. I thought they were going to try and fade them together somehow, like a Blumhouse thing or something.
I
But
just
nope,
thought there'd
you
be
just
like an
walk through
opening
a white
credits
room.
thing, like they did with Stranger Things 2 and 3. Like there's a little opening
Yeah,
well-
credits thing for the third one in the middle of the second one.
Yeah, after we saw the Halloween thing, that entrance, I thought that we were just going to get another thing
We were
like that
literally
between the
outside.
two. But
It was
Yeah, we went-
separated by two things.
yeah, you just went through a white room with stairs or something, right, and back into another house.
Yeah. It's so
Yeah.
weird the way they use the Fast and Furious wasted space in between queues and stuff. And the queues itself, which is also wasted
Yeah.
space because no one waits in line for that.
Yeah, nobody.
The-
waits.
The funny thing is that I forgot to watch The Black Phone and you hadn't watched Freaky yet. So like
Nope.
between the two of us, like I'm going through the first half of the house going, oh wow, it looks just like the movie. And you're going through the second half of the house going like, oh wow, this will make sense when you watch it. Like as I'm sitting here going, what is going on? It's just a
So
phone ringing over and over again. And like, like, there's just a guy in the middle of the kitchen. This feels like the Us house to me. Like when I walked in the room, like there's a bunch of bunny rabbits and I don't know why. Like I'm very confused. And that's on me for not watching the movie. But at the same time, it like from a haunted house point of view, like there wasn't much going on to me.
So if you watch the show, a lot takes place in the basement. That basement scene is really cool in that house.
Yes.
But I was talking to Chris, and I guess in Hollywood, there's a lot of that house takes place. But they redid that basement room with different aspects because that basement in the movie has like a hallway that the kid uses and a bathroom and all this other stuff that actually comes into play.
Yeah.
So the kitchen, when we went through the kitchen and he's just sitting there, that's directly lifted from the movie. But I was actually hoping that was going to be a character like that. We got
Right?
super
It was
close
like
to.
it wasn't a
But it
person, was
wasn't.
it? It was a
No,
dummy.
it wasn't. I was
Yeah.
really hoping it was going to be a scare character. The best part is we leave the house and they show the ending of the movie and Alicia's like, spoilers. And I'm like, you knew how it was going to end. That movie, those movies always end. It's always how you get to the end. I'm like, you didn't really get spoiled. And she goes, I don't understand what's with the dog. I'm like, well, I can't tell you because that's a spoiler.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was barking
that is
like the
true.
whole time.
I know. I'm like, that's a huge spoiler for that house.
I will say the one part that I was like disappointed about was the fact that like in the movie the phone itself undulates, and I'm a sucker for like gags like that.
Okay. So that would have made a difference if it like vibrated a little bit when it rang. It was just
It was
stationary.
it was like a slow undulate. It was really creepy in the movie. I was like, whoa, this is
It
really
was.
subtle.
I actually think they could have done a whole house based on that movie. I don't think they had to do a mini house.
Yeah.
I think we missed a lot of stuff from the movie that would have been really cool to see as a house.
Whatever.
I think-
They crammed everything into Freaky. They put the whole
They
movie
did.
in that one.
Yeah, but
did.
we could have walked through that hallway that was in the basement or something after he did what he does to that hallway. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of
There's
stuff
just
we
an
could have
empty
seen.
like cellar room with a plate of gruel on the ground and nothing in it.
If you
Like
see
this was
the
a
movie,
boring
though-
house, and I'll stand
No.
by it.
Watch the movie. Watch the movie now that you've been through the house.
It
It's a
Freaky
good-
was
It is
awesome.
a very good
Vince
movie.
Vaughn
Freaky-
came out 6 times with the mask on, and then
Okay,
the hot
can
chick
we
jumped
talk
out
about-
5 times.
Wait, I need to talk about this movie because I finally watched it today after we went through the house. Vince Vaughn acting
Oh.
like a high school girl is everything I ever needed in my life and did not realize it because it is amazing when he runs and does all like the mannerisms and stuff. It
I
is
think I
just
was-
ridiculously
I was
awesome.
15 minutes into the movie, and I was like, "Oh, it's so refreshing to see Vince Vaughn care again." It's
so good. And then-
why this movie of all movies? But like, it's been 15 years since I've seen him actually like care about a role, and here
The
it is.
minute I saw him after the thing happens and he runs, I was like, this is amazing. Like that run is so funny and amazingly perfect.
Oh, that was another shadow gag that had a projection of the transformation, like the swap, like the
Oh, yeah,
Freaky
yeah,
Friday
yeah.
swap.
Oh yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
And seriously, guys, if you haven't watched The Black Phone, you should watch it. It's not even, I think it's kind of like in the same area as like Haunting of Hill House, where it's got like horror stuff, but it's not really a horror movie.
Yeah, but like the
You know
Haunting
what
of
I
Hill
mean?
House haunted house made me want to watch the Haunting of Hill House. I feel like the
Yeah.
Black Phone haunted house made me less interested to watch the movie The Black Phone.
You should. That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean when I'm saying like they kind of did it in injustice because there's so much more to that movie than we
They
got
did
to
it
see in
dirty,
that
is what you're
house.
saying.
Yeah.
They did. I think they should have
Okay.
just made that the house. Even
'Cause
though
it was a
Freaky
little-
was awesome.
It was a little dull. There wasn't much to it.
Yeah.
And there was too many
honestly.
dummies and a non-moving phone. There was like repeated 3 times. There
We
wasn't
didn't
much to
we
it.
didn't we didn't really you didn't even really get the gist of like how the kid gets to the point that we see him at the end of the house. Like you
We didn't even see the
any of
kid
that.
until it was done.
I know. Like that's what I'm saying.
Were we missing scare actors or something? There was literally no people.
I don't know. There should have been more people because there should have been more kids in that house. To be honest,
We did
Yeah.
see the black phone guy, the main guy, the Ethan Hawke. The Ethan Hawke came and jumped out like 3 times, right? We at least saw that.
Yeah. I love that mask, by the way. That's one of my favorite horror movie masks.
The mask is doing
Yeah,
a
it's
lot of
really
heavy
good.
lifting in this haunted house.
It is.
It's doing all the work.
I just
Honestly,
none
kids,
of-
don't judge the movie on that house. The movie's it's a very good movie.
But I am
It's a
going to judge
solid
that house
horror
on its
movie.
lack of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, it's lacking things, and so is Emery. So
Yeah, honestly. And I none of the scares landed for me. So I really have to redo this house. As a fan of the movie, I was like, okay, that's that part. And then that's that part. But because none of the show scenes like were resetting well for me, I was like, oh, okay, that happened. And, oh, okay, that happened as well. So like I didn't even get the scares. It was like, whatever.
So while we've been talking, I kind of numbered my rankings list, and the horrors of Blumhouse, I have it 7. So like, despite me saying negative things, I have it pretty high on my list, all things considered.
Yeah. I think that actually works
Okay.
though for me too. I think that's about where I would put it, considering the level of the other houses that we have this year.
I think I have it above Descendants of Destruction. I was more emotionally connected to the first half of Horrors of Blumhouse than the entire Descendants of Destruction.
Freaky saved the day for
Freaky
Alicia's.
I did not expect to like that movie, but it was a fun little romp.
It's so fun. I laughed a lot. Even the kills that the movie starts with is great. It's super funny.
There was another
Like, not
shadow
to
gag too
ruin-
with the ending. There's they show the whole ending in a like a silhouette.
Yeah.
What I do have lower on my list is Spirits of the Coven, which breaks my heart because I
Yeah.
wanted to love it.
Me too. My deal with this house, though, is the first half, the atmosphere, like that 20s kind of thing, is really cool.
Yes.
And then it kind of drops the ball like halfway through.
And this is another one where it gets weirder and weirder as it goes. And that's the point of it.
I really like the aesthetic in the beginning, like the speakeasy vibe, the 20s thing. It's so cool.
Emily,
Yeah.
you did
There
do
are-
this.
She did this on the way out last night, right?
Yes. I was so happy with like the premise, and everything was set so well. And even the sets towards the end were really, really nice. But
Yeah.
I was lacking like a cohesive like bridge in terms of storyline. But I obviously have to do it multiple times to kind of like bridge that gap. Like this is just first impressions, obviously.
Mhm.
But I think for something that I love so much, which is like 1920s Art Deco, speakeasy, flapper girls,
Witches.
and witches,
Yep. Mhm.
and sexy flapper witches killing men. I was like, this is everything for me. I was living the kissing scene where she's like making out with that guy and like murdering him. I was like, yes.
Yep.
But then like towards like the end, I was like, okay, okay. Wait, what?
Yeah, it kind of went from all that coolness and beauty and like pretty kind of stuff and the speakeasy and all the flappers, like you're saying. And then it's just like, all right, so now we got people in like hag masks jumping out. Okay.
But like,
What happened to all the cool
that.
stuff?
I get that. Like that's it actually reminds me of What We Do in the Shadows, except they wanted blood here. And
Yeah.
they show their true forms afterward. I thought, no, the concept, I don't know what it was. It just didn't resonate for some reason. Like the concept on paper is so awesome. And like the idea that like they're beautiful like women and they lure you back. And then as you get deeper and deeper into it, you realize their true form. And also they're stealing the blood of people. And they have like the underground railroad of the barrels of like alcohol.
Yeah,
because it's
those things
during
are cool.
Prohibition.
I
like
love
those a
that
lot.
was all really cool, but then it got deeper and deeper, and I was like, I
Yeah.
should love this. It seems like, but also,
Yeah.
it just kept going. It felt like that house was a third longer than any other house because, like, the way it was set up, it just felt like, wait a minute, why is this still going? Wait, it's getting weirder.
Yeah.
Like, how deep
Yeah.
underground are we at this point?
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
it starts off so good, and I just wanted it to keep going that
Yeah.
way.
I think the climax scene where like the runes are glowing and then there's that central witch that's kind of like cackling. Okay. The thing about me for witches, if it's going to be horror, I need to see witches being levitated, or I need to see people being levitated, being snapped in half.
Yep.
I need to see like body horror, like a la Suspiria, like such a good movie, but like that encapsulated what I wanted this house to end like.
Especially if you're going to do glowing runes. Yeah, you're going to throw glowing runes
but like,
in there too. Just do it all up.
I feel like one scene in Wicked Growth last year was more effective than the second half of this entire house.
Period. I hate to say it. I hate to say it.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that's like when
Growth was
if we say anything negative, of course, this is nothing against anyone. Especially like scare actors who are working their butt off, and there was a couple good scares. Although the biggest scare I got was the train track thing full of barrels coming at me.
Rolled out real fast.
Good.
And I mean, also to be fair, on any of these houses, it depends on the run you get too. So we could go back if we ever go back. Yeah, it could be different.
I just felt it got long. I would have rathered some bigger opener scenes in the speakeasy stuff. I think it was a little cramped in the begining. I would have rather that been open and then it get tighter and skinnier as it goes, and maybe cut out like a third of some of the walking. But because it felt weirdly long in the middle. But like there was some great set design. There was some like great concepts. It just like. It was also just like I ended up liking all the houses a lot more than I thought this year. So this one ended up like 9th out of 10 on my list. Surprisingly, considering it's such a high concept, interesting house. Like there's so many like time period houses this year too. Like the 1950s, the 1920s, whatever Dead Man's Pier is. Like it feels like different worlds instead of like too many IPs. Like this is just a movie, and which Halloween was, but at the same time still felt fresh somehow. So it's okay.
Yeah, they did a great job at that house. So that leaves us one more, right?
I saved that for last because that's definitely my number 10.
I didn't like that house very much.
I didn't even go through it. I haven't seen it yet, so tell me.
The rumor was this house was Evil Dead, I guess.
Yes.
There's like a new Evil Dead movie coming out, maybe. So it might have been based on that, and that movie's not even out yet. So like maybe that's why they lost the rights to it. Like the film company just like literally just like, hey, we put off this movie. You can't put out the house yet. No one will know what it is. So again, another high concept. They took like what could, like it seems simple enough. It's a jail and it's filled with different characters and like different people. But instead of being people, it's like different monsters. It's the end of Cabin in the Woods, sort of. It's like a weird interdimensional jail. Instead of cubes, it's jail cells. And it's like, and then there's a giant power core that powers the prison, but it's failing. And it's like so sci-fi, but it doesn't look sci-fi. And then, but then it's an explanation for why there's so many different types of monsters, because I think they're just using all the old masks from old houses. So like you would recognize something from prior years in each scene, which is clever, but at the same time, it like creates a disconnect from like there's no real through line for this. It's just like here's this monster and there's this monster and there's this monster. And this is one where I felt bad because the characters are like doing their best, but it still just never coalesced for me. Although at the end was kind of neat where there was like a guard character and is like, he says some really clever line and then he smacks a button to blow up the whole prison using the like overloading the core, I guess. It's very sci-fi high concept. And there's like big flashing lights and I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. And then it's over.
Yeah. You know what I didn't like about that house? I thought it kind of took me out of it immediately. It's like one of the first things you see is like one of the prison guards and he says, you'll never make it out alive while you're entering the gate. I'm like, why are we going in then? Why are we allowed? The gate's wide open. You're standing right there telling me we're not going to live and the gate's right there. Why is it open?
You had such an issue with this that I'm like, we're going because we're in the conga line and we have no choice.
I'm just like, why is that even happening right now? It just felt weird to be like, the gate's right there, but you're going to not make it. But thanks for telling me. Like, why are we going in? Why are you allowing us in, sir?
Interesting. Okay.
It was cool though. Like the signs on the wall, like there was a lot of details that were like kind of small, and Alicia was in front of me, so she was pointing out so much stuff,
That's what I do.
which was great because she was seeing it before me. So then, if I was in front of her, I'd be like, "Hey, look at that." But
yeah, you point
yeah,
out
it
things
was-
too.
I do. But yeah, with like the signs on the wall for like interspecies or whatever. I wish we took a picture of that, even though we're not supposed to. But I don't.
Can't take
In
pictures.
the end, wait, was that the end with was that must have been the one I was thinking of with all the strobe lights? Because like it strobed so much all of a sudden I couldn't see where I was going.
Yeah,
I think
there
that
was a lot of
that one.
strobing in that one.
Yeah, the thing blows. They blow it up on your way out, basically.
Yeah, I
whole
like the
core?
blow up moment. I thought it was clever. I
Yeah,
kind
they-
of wish there was a room where we saw the core, like a big like projected effects
Yeah.
circle thing. Like I want to see the power core overloaded or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, for it being a, last minute replacement, I'm very hyped to, see what they were able to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, considering how fast I had to turn that around, it's really not that bad. But like Alicia has said a couple times now, the other houses are just so good this year. It's hard to compete.
Yeah.
So, Evil Dead Rise is the new movie, comes out next year. I think it all
Okay.
It looks like the Judge Dredd movie. The whole thing takes place in a high-rise building. So
Oh.
maybe
Which is also the raid, by the way.
okay, yes, the raid. Yeah, thank you. So I'm wondering if it wasn't a prison, that was something that they could like they added chain link fences to all the scenes and like now it's a prison. Like so I'm sitting here thinking like we're gonna watch Evil Dead Rise and like we're gonna recognize all these set pieces like The Purge took over Scream and you can clearly see the Jiffy Pop still on the on the stove from the Drew Barrymore scene and like there's a character hanging in a tree disemboweled but there's like graffiti and people are purging and then the next scene is a school and there's lockers but there's graffiti and people are purging. It's like this is Scream. You're not
Yep.
tricking me. But this
Yep.
one I think was like gutted. It felt very bare bones except for the intro and the outro. Like it felt like they just put up a bunch of chain link fence and said it's a prison now. So, and that makes sense with that hallway when we were seeing that sign with like the translated thing. That might just be like an apartment building hallway, like a high rise hallway.
Yeah,
So maybe that's why it's so boring in there.
Yeah, and I mean, changing all, like you were just saying, I think changing all the doors to an apartment and just hanging like those kind of barn door sliding things into cage doors is pretty easy.
It was a lot of chain link fence and stuff, and it was minimalistic kind of style. It was really up to the scare actors, and because it was so many, like every room had a different monster, and it was hard to really get hooked into it.
Oh, okay.
There was one good room for a scare actor anyway. They had a scare actor that was up high in a cage, and it looks like the cage is completely enclosed and he can't get to you. But you come around one corner side of it, it's like opened up, and he could just put his head out with his arm. It was pretty good. It was pretty good.
It was kind of a neat, like, because he was so high up, but I kept thinking to myself, like, is this a bedroom and that is a bed and they put a giant cage on it? Like, what did this used to be? My mind can't not think that, knowing that it was a rethemed house.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty well done though, because it really looked like he couldn't get to you, but there was a big hole on the other side.
But still, even that one wasn't bad. Like, there's been previous years where I've gone through and I've been like, well, that was not good. And this one was like, no, that's not my favorite. Like, so.
Yeah.
Pretty good lineup of houses. Again, I can't stress enough how surprised I was that Halloween was so good. Like, I don't even really care about that movie, but I loved that house. There's something wrong with me.
It was really well done. I really liked also the little Schroeder Realty sign. That was pretty fun.
We looked up in the window, you could see like his mask or something glowing.
It was him leaning out. I think it's him leaning out, looking at everybody, because
it
looks like there's shoulders and stuff. No, it's not a real person, but I think it's supposed to be him.
You looked funny up there.
Scare zones.
Scare zones.
Yeah.
What was everyone's favorite scare zone?
The candy one.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was Scarecrow.
Yeah. Scarecrow is really good. I wish it was longer. I like the candy one because I like that 50s, 60s aesthetic. I think it works really well for horrors. So.
Every song that played in the New York Scare Zone, the Candy Zone, was good. Because it's all like old music and it's kitschy.
Yeah.
And when we were leaving, because I already said like 3 times. I was like, oh, they're playing the Glowworm song. I love this song. They're playing this song. I love that song. We walk out of there. Last house. We did our last house. We're walking out of there after you guys left. And they played the Papa Loves Mambo song, which I
that's
used in my
amazing.
Pizza Rizzo podcast. It's my favorite song from Pizza Rizzo. And I'm like singing along as we walk out, and I'm limping because I've been like, my leg hurts so much. And I was like, Papa Loves Mambo. So yeah, based on the music alone, that Scare Zone wins. But it also has parade floats.
It does, but I also like that there's like, in horror movies, I find like little kids creepier than almost everything else. And there's like some little kids roaming around in there with masks on with like blood, and just look normal until they turn and look at you and stuff. But
and I also they're all homemade costumes. Their parents made them their costumes. Remember that our tour guide told us that. So that's like very realistic for the time period.
I like the lady at the truck when you first come in from the Fallon side with the pink beehive kind of hair. She's kind of fun.
So iconic.
It's really great. Yeah, it's so good. But I also like that you see like the mayor just like roaming around with his little like his little ribbon thing on. And, there's just I thought it was just really cool because it wasn't like in your face. It just felt like things were just slightly off, and then there'd be like 1 or 2 people running around going, "Don't eat the candy," and I was like, "This is kind of amazing." And it's pretty simple. It's not super scary. I like that it just felt a little off, and I like the time period they chose. So that's why I liked it the most.
I know it's small, but the Scarecrow Cursed Soil was just so well done.
It's really good.
Yes.
It looks really creepy and scary. Yeah, the guy with the pig severed head on his head. But like they really underlit it, and like I'm walking through the first time and I'm like, I can't even see anything. It's so underlit. We walked through a second time and I was like, no, I was wrong. This is perfect. It's just right.
Yeah, it's great. Yes. Yeah, and on our way out, we were all looking at the lanterns, and they had like the firefly lights and stuff up there. I wish there was more of the firefly lights. Yeah, but even just looking up at the lanterns, that was cool and the little yellow lights going. I like that. That one's a good one.
I agree.
What about the skeleton backpacks? That's the takeaway from the graveyard. Everyone is obsessed with the skeleton backpacks. Which
I love that little guy. That's my favorite part of graveyard.
So good. So good.
Yes.
We only saw it during the day, and I took some pictures, and I'm thinking to myself, it probably looks more effective at night. But then I was seeing the pictures at night, and I'm like, nope, it looks even sillier, and that's what makes it great. That's what makes it wonderful.
It's camp, and I love it, and it's so good. You know, it's like this classic like horror movie trope of like, you know, all the monsters coming alive and like through the graveyard, but like then you see Mr. Skeleton with his little limp wrist flopping everywhere, and I'm like, my baby.
There's a floppy wrist. That's true.
Oh my god,
it's so like his left one that like flops around.
We saw Pumpkin Lord at the front scare zone, the entry area.
Horrors of Halloween. Yes.
Yeah, that was too short. I understand it's supposed to be an intro, but it's way too short. I thought it was just going to be like the start.
I could have stood there and listened to Pumpkin Lord talk for half an hour, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But I mean, imagine if that whole canopy thing had run farther and there was more stuff going on. Like, it would have been so cool. I thought it felt a little short to me, but I did like it. I thought it was cool to see all the pumpkins lit up and stuff all over that.
Pumpkin Lord reminded me of the Grinch. And
kind of.
I was saying last night, he has like the long gloves, so he's doing a lot of the same hand gestures as the Grinch does with the fur long gloves, but it's Pumpkin Lord, so it almost makes it like more like he's very eccentric for someone who lives in a giant gourd, but like it works.
Our Gordon savior.
We love him.
Yes, we do.
I think that Horrors of Halloween would have been more effective if it were longer. Also, I just wish the pumpkins had been like staggered up in a better way. That truss system just did not work well for me. Not just because I have like little Boo kind of like all the way up there. There's a way to do it, I think, that would have been like more visually effective.
Well, like the vines are very cool on the lower part, and then as it gets to the top, it's just a truss.
Yeah, I think
they just lose that.
Like I said, I think they needed the truss section to be longer so they had more space to do stuff. It would have felt better to me.
Yeah, and also having it not be rectangular would have been a lot better because Wicked Growth had that like almost like cornucopia shape as you get like tighter and tighter into that. That was just so effective. I loved that, you know?
Yeah, well, even the Scarecrow though, they had like that barn shape, and then they had the upper level for characters to run up.
Yeah, because that's a truss too, and that felt very effective.
Yeah, so they could have done something a little more with it.
Yes.
I'm fine with it. It has a big sign that says Halloween Horror Nights, like the early
Yeah.
2000s, late 90s. So
It's
I'm here
fine.
for
We're
it.
just nitpicking. So whatever.
Yes.
We got our pumpkin lord. We got our boo.
They
We're
need to
good,
bring
but
back the fire. That
been
truss
better.
used to have giant flames in front of it in like 2002.
Exactly.
They need to bring that back.
I'm always here
Welcome to
for
Halloween
fire.
Horror Nights. Fire. Oh, speaking of, we saw Halloween Nightmare Fuel Wildfire.
Yep. So good.
Yes.
I liked it. It felt like they rehashed a few things, but it was really good. I really liked that show.
I love magic, and I wish there was more magic in it. And I like
Me
that.
too.
That's where I go. That's where I go first. But
Yeah, that's not why I go for magic.
there's only so many times we can see. There's only so many times we can see the quick change done, like slightly differently before it's like, well, this is just the same trick 3 times. I mean, the bed gag is exactly the same as last year with the winding like clock.
It is.
But the bed of nails thing, that was cool. It was different than the big circled paper thing they did last year, but it's still the same trick every time. Do something different if you're going to do magic. I can't believe I'm complaining about this. It's not about the magic, I know.
No, I'm more interested in the stunts anyway, like the dude with the ring and the person hanging from the girl hanging from the ceiling and all that stuff. I'd rather see that.
I felt bad for guy with the ring because he had just got done swing dancing with that one lady. Who's just as tall and muscular as he is, like, and I'm sitting here going, his arms have got her. Oh no, he's doing a ring thing now. Okay, like he just got done swinging her around.
Yep,
he's the real star of the night.
Yeah,
that guy was pretty awesome.
Everyone's so built, so everyone's so like amazing looking in that show, and that's all I'm going to say because I can't.
Well, they kind of do some makeup on him too to accentuate his.
There was some.
I was like, that's some weird looking shadow. Oh, it's not a shadow. Never mind.
As our tour guide pointed out, like if anyone wants to sit this one out, there is some mature dancing,
including men on leashes.
Okay, so ghoulish a Halloween tale.
Which Alicia did not believe me was going to happen, even though it happened last year too.
Yeah, I turned to him like, well, there you go, leashes. What do you know? Ghoulish, a Halloween Tale is the new name for the Lagoon show. We saw that. I love, and this is something that like all the scare zones and even some of the houses like tied together classic Halloween tropes. And it's like, it only took 31 years, but we have like finally some classic Halloween in our Halloween event. But like Horrors of Halloween introduced all the different like things. Scarecrows are creepy Halloween stuff. Sweet Revenge, trick-or-treating and candy. Graveyard had ghosts in a graveyard, and Conjure the Dark had the witches. And the pumpkins in the entrance, we had the jack-o'-lanterns in the entrance. So it was all very classic Halloween. And Ghoulish, a Halloween Tale, like the first half of it was all classic Halloween like characters and like very retro vintage style animations on the fountains. So that was cool.
Wait. Can we talk about how we walked through that witch scare zone? What is it? Conjuring? What is that?
Conjure the Dark.
That's right. Conjure the Dark. We walked through there and I was like, I just feel like I'm at an industrial show. It doesn't even feel like a scare zone.
Why was it playing that music? It was like very like it didn't feel very like classic
even
witch.
The costumes though. I was like, this feels like an industrial show that I would have gone to like in 1995. Like it doesn't feel like a scare zone at all to me.
I feel like she was working on a brew when we walked through, and I was like, is she like she must be making the stuff that goes. She's making the stuff that goes into a glow stick. That's what she's like. They're going to do a rave at the end of this. Just like,
we walked by. Alicia's like, where's my dragon? And I just yelled dragon at him and nothing happened still. So I tried.
The tone of the music didn't match what I was expecting.
Yeah, it was weird. It was kind of weird.
I don't know. It fully landed for me, honestly. I don't know why, but
that's what I'm saying.
It's like goth bar vibes with like witches, and I don't know why.
What I'm saying.
Everything about it, I was just like, oh yes, yes,
yes.
No. Like I said, it didn't feel like a scare zone. It felt like a Saturday to me, like from one part of my life. That's what I'm saying.
But I agree with that. It was not a scare zone. It was definitely more of a theatrical, like
just like nostalgia for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Ghoulish. I liked parts of it. I didn't like all of it, and part of it was the animation. I understand was supposed to be like kind of cheap, kind of, so to speak, where it just moves and it doesn't really matter. But as a musician, seeing the things not move in relation to any of the music was making me crazy.
Oh,
like
that's
the
what they
mouths
always
moving,
do with these.
And then like seeing like there's a piano part and there's clearly a mouth that's supposed to look like keyboard for a piano, and it just is nonsensical. And I'm just like, I can't. I start hyper focusing on that. I'm like, none of it matches the
You're
music.
supposed to
It's just
see it
weird,
all
random
like
animations.
collectively with the fountains and the music
I
and
can't help it. Okay.
It is not a synchronized. It is definitely not like the projection mapping on like a Happily Ever After or a Disney Enchantment or whatever. It is not matched to the music as perfectly. It is more like as a quick zoom weird effects that happen in the background at a concert. Like it is more like the background behind a DJ than it is. Yeah,
but
there
it's
you go.
The foreground.
It's the stuff. Yeah, but because there's nothing to look at but it. But the fountains are like the real focus point. I needed some pyro. I didn't even realize.
I really liked.
Yeah,
it did, and I did like the intro. The more I thought about it after I talked to you, Alicia, and I like the weekend section, even though I'm not actually a huge weekend.
This
fan,
concludes
but I did like that
the living portion of our program. You are now dead. Like it just straight up tells you you're dead.
Yeah, I know. They're just like, you're done. Goodbye. Thanks for playing.
I like seeing that after we've done all the houses and everything. It's a nice little, because by then I'm already delirious. We've had a few drinks and like I'm watching it and I'm like, the
skeleton dance?
I'm like, are those skeletons people in suits? Like, is this like?
Yes, they are. It was so good. It was so good. So good. It was awesome.
But Little Boo makes an appearance at the end too. Twice. There's actually a Little Boo projection mapped on the building behind, and then a Little Boo in the foreground.
The Little Boo at the end is great though, because the little noise he makes when he pops up.
He just goes he's very deadpan. He just goes boo, boo.
It's so good.
I will have to see what I feel about it tonight.
As a Monsters person, I liked last year's a little better.
Okay.
Well, to wrap up our thoughts, thank you, Emery, by the way, for being on here and enduring all these spoilers for the things you're going to see tonight.
I thought she was going to thank you for enduring us.
Oh yeah, that too.
No.
Thanks for dealing with us.
No, this regular banter is what I live for. I love you guys. You guys are truly the best.
It's a great year. I think last year with pandemic issues was a very unsure year, a very busy year, and like a lot of complaining about safety protocols and things like that. So this was the first year like where the event was back to normal, but also it felt refreshed. It had like a new feeling to it that felt different than the years past. So almost like a reborn Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah, even our tour was done a little bit different. Last year they assigned us right when we checked in. This year we had to go somewhere else and wait in line. And
even the little light up sticks were new this year.
The sticks were different.
Emery, before we go, I wanted to let everyone know that you have a plush Little Boo that you are offering as a Kickstarter.
So adorable. So adorable.
And that I've already ordered mine. And it is very important that everyone order so that we can get up the correct number so you can get the minimum order, right? So
I'm bargaining for mine.
Tell everyone a little bit about this product, what it includes, and how they can get it.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. So I really wanted to do something that like any person could enjoy, like a product that like a college kid or a little girl or, you know, a 60-year-old like dad would enjoy. And I feel like this is like plushies are just universal, pun unintended. But the the fabric is like super, super soft. Like I really wanted it to feel like a squishmallow. And so Symbiote Studios are doing a really, really good job. I got a little bit of a preview of what it's going to look like. I can't really show that just yet, but once we like finalize everything, I'll be posting like the actual prototype that I receive. And I'm so excited. But yes, I have to make a minimum order quantity of 500. So I really need everyone's help. I would really appreciate it if any of the listeners of this show are able to, it's a little bit of a steeper price. I'm so sorry about this, but
it doesn't just come with the, I was going to say, because a lot of people have been asking for a pin. It comes with
stuff.
This is an official Emery Arts, like the Little Boo's mama, Little Boo. Like I love all the Little Boo merchandise from Universal, but I love your merchandise just as much because it's like an evolution of Little Boo. Little Boo is coming into his own this year. He's risen up, and he's got a voice of his own. I don't know if you've noticed.
He said rise, didn't he? He did say rise, didn't he?
He said rise.
So it comes with a pin, and it comes with the plush, and he's got his little body, right? He's got a little body.
Yes.
Yes. So
And his
Yeah, he does.
signature little like curly Q stem at the very top.
yeah.
It's just everything about this product is something that I wanted to do for a year now. It's been a year since I've been wanting to do all of these merchandise opportunities, and like it's this plushie right now. There's a bag coming in the very near future as well, which I'm very excited about. I'm also in talks with a new manufacturer, so I am announcing it on the podcast. There is a bag coming. I have not worked out the details, but that is like what is imminent. On top of the second edition of the Chilling Tale of Lil Boo short story, and
The origin
later on,
story.
the origin story, yes, and the sequel to the Chilling Tale, which will be
Ooh.
out sometime early next year, I would say. Yeah,
That's awesome.
So,
Where can people
fun stuff.
find? What's the URL? Or I'll put it in whatever show notes, or wherever you're listening to this.
What's
You'll
the
see
show
it right at
notes?
the top. It's like
Yeah.
text that no one notices if you're listening through
Oh,
Apple.
okay.
Gotcha. What's the URL to find the plushie?
You can find all of my products at my website, which is emeryalvarado.com/shop. And it'll be in the Holiday Village shop section, which is like a lore that I've built for all of
Just
my
overachieving, even theming your shop. I can't.
It's
There's
ridiculous.
a cute little map of the
It's
different
awesome,
like
but
holiday lands.
come on.
Just
Yes.
going beyond.
So there's lore behind my shop, and I really invite people to take a second to, read the lore before you purchase anything, because I really worked hard on that, and that will be built upon as well in the future. It's going to become its own Emery Arts cinematic universe sort of thing.
And you have it pinned on social media. So like, what's your handle on Twitter and Insta?
Yes. So
It's
my
Emery
handle
Arts?
on it's at Emery_Arts. Can't forget the underscore, or else you're going to
sorry.
get taken to the university in Georgia. But
Oopsies.
Okay. Emery
Whoops.
_arts. And
Yes.
the plushie's right pinned to the top on Twitter. That's where I see it.
it is.
Okay. Very
Yeah, you can buy a
important that we
plushie.
all get that. What's the deadline for that? I meant to ask that.
Yes. Really, really important. So the deadline for the Kickstarter is the 15th of this month. So we have under 2 weeks left. So yeah, the next 2 weeks, I am like an anxious little ball of like anxiety, like Lil Boo.
Everyone, get on it. Order yourself one. Order them for gifts for Christmas coming up. They're going to be very huggable and very soft and 11 inches tall, and come with a pin. So thank you,
Yes.
Emery, for joining us, and have fun tonight if your legs work. I hope that you can handle a
good
third
luck.
day
Good luck.
at Halloween Horror Nights. I could barely handle one night at Halloween Horror Nights.
Listen, I think with enough of, like the pumpkin beers, I'll do all right until I get home and get to my Epsom salt bath. But thank you all so much for allowing me to, boost my little sales up here. This means so much to me. And you already know this, but this is for the audience to hear all the sap. But yeah, I appreciate y'all so much.
Oh, I'm gonna go cry now. No, just kidding.
We love you.
I love
and
you guys.
we love you all.
And we love Little Boo.
Oh.
And we love what
We
you've
do.
done with Little Boo. And I can't wait for the second half of that story. I'm so lucky to get the first edition of the book. And I'm happy that more people will be able to get the second one when
So
it comes
good.
out later. Okay,
Yeah.
we're going to wrap it up. But Halloween Horror Nights is awesome. Everyone should go do
You
it.
should go. Beware
Go.
the pecan pie cider, as Alicia puts it. It tastes like a Yankee Candle
It
smells.
tastes
It's
like a
very
Yankee
sweet.
Candle.
Tread carefully.
Yeah, so cloying.
That lacto cooler was good though.
Drink
very sour.
responsibly, y'all.
Yeah, it's Halloween Horror Nights. Nobody's drinking responsibly. Who are you kidding?
Good night. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
See you in the fog.